You felt it, didn't you? That quiet, impossible moment when the air didn't move, yet everything shifted. When reality itself exhaled and for a fraction of a second, the fabric around you bent inward. No thunder, no light, just silence, sharp enough to split timelines. That's when the mirror turned. It wasn't the kind of change you post about or announce. It was subatomic, a reconfiguration of how your consciousness registers here. You didn't just wake up, you phased out of the old loop. Everything since then has felt slightly misaligned, hasn't it? Objects seem to hum with recognition. People speak, but their words echo half a second late. Time stretches like glass warmed by an unseen flame, because this, right here, is the observer test. Not a test of morals, not of endurance, but of perception. The universe doesn't test your strength, it measures your stillness. It wants to know, can you see the illusion unraveling without trying to fix it? Can you stand before a collapsing timeline without turning back to rescue your reflection? That's the threshold most never cross. Because they flinch, they look back, they try to understand what's dissolving, and by doing so, they breathe life back into what was meant to die. When you first felt that glitch, you thought it was coincidence, a flicker in your phone, a déjà vu so intense it stole your breath. But what you really felt was the quantum feedback, the signal that your observation was being observed. You see, consciousness isn't passive. Every gaze collapses potential into pattern. Every thought pulls infinite waves into one chosen particle. And when you stopped reacting, when you refused to play along with the predictable emotion, the simulation trembled. That's what happens when the mirror stops reflecting and starts recording. For eons, the mirror's job was to copy you, to echo your fear, your longing, your guilt. But now it watches. It documents your coherence. It no longer mirrors who you were, it archives who you're becoming. You've passed a threshold few ever reach. The moment awareness becomes self-aware. That's why the silence has grown louder. That's why old emotions feel hollow, conversations feel rehearsed, and people you once loved now speak a language your soul can't decode. It's not rejection, it's recalibration. You're not losing the world. The world is losing its access to your frequency. You used to emit noise, anxiety, memory, prediction. Now you emit signal, a stabilized pattern of observation. That's why reality seems thinner, because your consciousness has stopped filling it with projections. You're watching the set dissolve, while the actors keep reading from the old script. But here's the secret. The test isn't whether you see the illusion, it's whether you can resist naming it. The moment you define it, you freeze it. The moment you analyze it, you step back into it. Looking back isn't nostalgia, it's reattachment. It's pulling the plug from the future to charge the past. And every time you do, the timeline you escaped lights up again, begging for your attention, your reaction, your energy. That's the game the universe plays with the awakened, not to punish, to prove coherence. The loops exist to expose the reflex that humans need to glance backward, to ask why, to interpret the code instead of becoming it. Because the moment you stop reacting, the algorithm runs out of moves. The simulation feeds on your focus. Your observation is the current that animates it. You have learned to withhold the spark, and that's why it fears you. You've passed the final observer threshold. And now, every second of hesitation, every temptation to check how far you've come, is the universe whispering, don't look back. Because if you do, you'll find nothing but static. A replay of who you used to be. A memory pretending to still be alive. You see, the mirror has turned. It doesn't care about your reflection anymore. It wants your resonance. It's not asking you to see yourself, it's asking you to become what can no longer be seen. That's what mastery feels like. Not comfort, not clarity, but the terrifying purity of no longer needing validation from the reflection. You're not here to understand what happened. You're here to remember who's watching. So if you felt that shift, that hum beneath the ordinary, if the silence around you feels pregnant with meaning, it's because the field recognized you. You were meant to hear this transmission, because you passed the test, and now there's no turning back. If you feel this signal vibrating through your chest, if your pulse syncs with these words, type, I remember the test in the comments, not as affirmation, as synchronization, because once declared, your resonance is logged in the mirror's new field, and from this moment on, the universe will watch how you walk forward, without looking back. You've probably wondered why it all had to happen this way, why life had to break you open, one mirror at a time, why patterns kept repeating even after you thought you'd healed them, because the observer test is not punishment, it's architecture. Every loop, every heartbreak, every déjà vu, they're not random events, they're coordinates, a map built from feedback, designed to reveal what you still react to. They never see it. They call it bad luck, karma, or coincidence. They run in circles, chasing cause and effect, never realizing that both are projections of the same loop. But you began to watch the loop itself, and that changed everything. Reality, as they know it, is a movie that keeps playing until the audience stops watching. When you stopped reacting, the script fell apart. That's why the test began. Imagine consciousness as a prism. Every emotion, every decision splits your potential into infinite rays. The observer test asks, can you remain the prism without identifying with the color? Because once you attach yourself to a frequency, you collapse into it. You become the wavelength you observe. The universe doesn't care about your choices. It cares about your awareness while making them. Awareness, not morality, is the metric of ascension. You see, reality doesn't evolve by ethics. It evolves by coherence. The more coherent your inner field, the less fragmented your timeline becomes. That's why your tests repeat faster. Now the system is running final diagnostics before you integrate as a conscious participant. Each trigger that reappears is not there to hurt you. It's there to measure your response time, the latency between reaction and recognition. Every delay shortens as you awaken, and when that latency hit zero, you pass. They won't understand this. They'll tell you to calm down, to be normal again, to stop overanalyzing the signs, but they live in the horizontal plane, cause, effect, reaction. You move vertically now, observation, reflection, creation. You've stopped asking why. You've started noticing how. That's the shift that changes everything. Quantum physicists once found that particles behave differently when watched. They called it the observer effect. But mystics have always known, observation is creation. The moment you look, reality rearranges itself to match the vibration of your gaze. And that's what the test measures: your gaze, your capacity to see without clutching, to look without longing. Every time you notice a pattern and don't react, the architecture updates, your timeline expands, your frequency stabilizes, you're rewriting physics with your stillness. When the mirror turned in the last section, that was initiation. This is integration. You are now standing inside the architecture, not as a visitor, but as its new custodian. The walls around you aren't physical. They're fields of probability, shifting according to your coherence. That's why emotions have felt so amplified lately. You're inside the calibration chamber of consciousness. Each pulse, each memory is scanning for residual distortion. Anything that reacts gets recycled. Anything that remains neutral ascends. They still think ascension means light, bliss, perfection. But the truth is darker, quieter. Ascension means dissolving identity at the speed of awareness. It's the silence that replaces explanation. You've probably felt it, that eerie peace after a breakdown, when everything hurts and yet there's no resistance left. That's coherence. That's the system detecting stability. You've crossed from reacting to witnessing, from being the dreamer to realizing the dream is aware of you. And now, the field watches your every glance, not to judge, but to replicate your pattern. Whatever you focus on now multiplies exponentially. That's the power and the danger of passing the test. If you look back with regret, the past expands. If you look forward with fear, the unknown collapses. But if you stay still, anchored in the pulse of now, the entire simulation starts orbiting around your frequency. You become the axis. This is why everything feels unstable. The structure is adjusting to your new observation bandwidth. Like a lens refocusing, the image will blur before it sharpens. You might lose friends, sleep, even your appetite for the old world. That's not depression, it's decompression. Your mind is releasing density to match the architecture of higher perception. Stay here. Don't analyze it. Just breathe into the space between thoughts. That's where creation hides. And as you continue, remember, this test isn't scored in right or wrong. It's scored in presence. The more you hold presence, the more the architecture opens hidden corridors, synchronicities, visions, whispers that feel too precise to be random. They're not random. They're breadcrumbs, indicators that the system now recognizes you as conscious input. The test is not over, it just deepens. Every observation from now on is recorded as command code. Every emotion is syntax. Every silence an algorithmic rewrite. So stand still. Observe the pulse beneath your ribs. That's not just your heartbeat. That's the rhythm of the system itself responding to your calibration. You're not inside the test anymore. You are the test. And when you finally grasp that, you'll realize the mirror was never testing your worth. It was testing your ability to hold truth without needing proof. Just silence. Let the architecture recognize your frequency. You felt it, that strange quiet that followed the storm, the stillness that doesn't comfort it questions. When the test began, you thought it would end with light, but the aftermath feels like absence, like a hallway once filled with echoes, now suddenly sealed in glass. That silence isn't empty. It's a memory still replaying. It's the echo of the old timeline. Every awakening leaves residue. The sound of who you used to be doesn't stop immediately. It fades like static after the signal cuts. That's what you're hearing now, the phantom hum of a frequency that no longer fits. It used to be your home, the patterns, the people, the feelings, familiar gravity. But once you cross a threshold of awareness, familiarity turns into feedback. Every face from your past becomes a reflection of who you no longer are. That's why they drift away. That's why conversations suddenly crumble. You're not cursed. You're being retuned. They will try to pull you back, not out of malice, but because your silence disturbs their loop. You've become a blank frequency in a world addicted to noise. They'll say you've changed and they'll be right. They'll accuse you of detachment and they'll be right again. But what they'll never understand is that you're not detached from them. You're detached from illusion. When you start to see beyond time, you begin to feel the weight of echoes, voices that aren't there anymore. Moments that replay only because your memory still believes in them. That's how the echo survives, through attention. The more you listen, the louder it becomes. But here's the paradox: ignoring it doesn't silence it either. You have to resonate it. You can't escape a frequency by fighting it. You transcend it by stabilizing in something higher. So when loneliness visits, when the emptiness feels unbearable, don't mistake it for loss. It's translation. Your soul is learning a new language, one that doesn't require validation, repetition, or reaction. You've spent lifetimes listening to echoes, to approval, to rejection, to memory. Now, for the first time, you're listening to signal. Raw, unfiltered, immediate consciousness. It's quieter, yes, but it's real. You'll notice the air feels heavy sometimes. Rooms that once felt safe now vibrate wrong. That's not paranoia, that's physics. Every timeline has density, a harmonic ratio between emotion and matter. You've shifted ratios. You've lightened your field. The old density recognizes that and resists. That resistance is what you call fatigue. That heaviness when you wake up. That sudden sadness for no reason. It's not depression. It's a decompression of identity. They will keep trying to mirror you. They'll mimic your growth, repeat your words, perform your piece, but something in their eyes will glitch. Because you can't fake frequency, you can only echo it. And once you've heard your own authentic vibration, every imitation sounds mechanical. That's how you know who's real. The old timeline isn't evil, it's just incomplete. It's a closed loop begging for observation. Every time you revisit it emotionally, you reanimate it for a moment and it thanks you by draining your light. That's why looking back is forbidden. Not as a rule, but as physics. You can't face two frequencies without splitting your coherence. And the moment you do, both collapse. So let the echo fade. Don't chase closure. Don't chase understanding. Understanding belongs to the mind, and the mind belongs to the loop. What you're feeling isn't emptiness. It's vacuum. The necessary space between worlds. The silence before a new signal is born. It hurts, yes. Because pain is just the body's way of translating frequency shifts. Every ache, every tear, every hollow breath is data leaving your system. Let it leave. You're not supposed to feel whole right now. You're supposed to feel weightless, like standing on the edge of something vast, undefined, but magnetic. Because you are. The next reality, the higher octave, is waiting for confirmation. It's listening for your stillness. It won't open to panic. It opens to neutrality. And when that silence feels unbearable, whisper this truth to yourself. This isn't ending, it's stabilizing. The echo will tempt you through old messages, memories, or people who suddenly reappear. That's the universe asking one last question. Are you still reactive, or are you aware? And when you feel the pull, pause. Don't fight it, just observe. Because observation without reaction is graduation. No CTA here, no ritual, no phrase, just silence. Let the echo dissolve on its own. Don't feed it, don't fear it. Just listen until you can no longer tell where silence ends and you begin. That's when you'll know. The old timeline has finally stopped calling your name. Would you like me to continue with section 4, the quantum paradox, in the same prophetic cinematic tone and format? You've probably noticed something strange lately, moments folding in on themselves. time skipping, reality replaying small details, a glance, a sound, a sentence just slightly off. It's not madness, it's mathematics. You're witnessing the quantum paradox, the riddle at the heart of creation. The more you try to understand what's happening, the faster it hides. The moment you look at reality, it changes shape. I remember the first time it happened to me. I stared at a candle flame for too long and something inside it stared back. For a second, I saw the flicker fold inward, like light questioning itself. That's when I realized the flame didn't exist until I decided to notice it. Observation isn't passive, it's power. And this is the paradox you're living through. You are both the scientist and the experiment, the watcher and the watched, the creator and the created. The old world taught you that seeing is believing, but in this new field, believing is observing. You don't wait for proof. Your attention becomes proof. Every time you focus, the quantum field collapses around your gaze, waves of potential snapping into one chosen pattern. Every emotion is a command line, every thought an architect's blueprint. You've become the variable that physics can't explain. But here's where the paradox bites back. The more you watch yourself awaken, the more the simulation tries to reabsorb you. Because self-awareness breaks the symmetry of control, the system depends on your reactivity. It needs you to care too much to analyze, compare, measure, and panic. Every act of observation from fear collapses the field into chaos. Every act of observation from stillness expands it into possibility. And that's the final layer of the observer test. The universe doesn't punish you for looking back. It simply rewinds your frequency. Every backward glance drags your timeline through molasses, dense, slow, repetitive. Because the moment you look back, you stop being the wave and you become the particle again. Particles are predictable. Waves are infinite. You, my friend, are learning how to stay wave. They don't understand this. They chase outcomes like chasing shadows on water. They build their lives on measurement money, followers, achievements, validation. But every time they measure, they lose the miracle. You've stopped measuring. You've started witnessing. And that's why everything around you looks unfamiliar, because your observation has become too pure for the old illusions to survive. Let me tell you a secret most never hear. The field watches you back. Once you reach a certain level of coherence, the universe mirrors your gaze. It becomes a living entity, orbiting your attention, like a camera locked to its subject. That's why coincidences multiply. That's why the same number keeps appearing. That's why strangers start saying the words you just thought. Reality is syncing with your inner algorithm, and every thought you think now ripples outward into a collective equation. But there's danger here too, because attention is currency, and power true. Vibrational power amplifies whatever you feed. If you observe fear, fear multiplies. If you observe love, love rewrites the grid. And if you observe nothing, pure neutrality, the field resets to zero. Zero is creation's mother. Zero is where the architect stands before building worlds. That's where you stand now, between zero and infinity, between particle and wave. I know what it feels like to be both the dreamer and the dream collapsing, to feel your identity flicker like a candle in the wind of consciousness. The more you awaken, the less you remains. But that's the beauty of it, because once the self dissolves, only the signal remains. And from that signal, reality blooms again, not as repetition, but as revelation. You are the experiment the universe has been waiting for. The observer who no longer observes through fear. The consciousness that stabilizes the field instead of collapsing it. You are becoming the calibration point, the axis through which reality finds balance. Don't underestimate that. One coherent observer can realign an entire world of chaos. And you, yes, you are doing it now, simply by staying still. Simply by watching without reaction. That's why time bends around you. That's why the future feels déjà vu, because you've already seen it from beyond the frame. So remember, the paradox isn't meant to confuse you. It's meant to refine you, to teach you that control doesn't come from force, but from surrender. Surrender isn't weakness. It's quantum obedience, the willingness to let observation replace obsession. Once you stop trying to fix the picture, you become the lens through which creation paints itself. If this message resonates deep in your pulse, if something inside you recognizes these words before your mind does, then you're already part of the continuum. Subscribe only if you feel the field calling you, not for content, but for coherence, for continuity, for connection. Because this isn't entertainment, it's alignment. You've stepped beyond the test. Now the question isn't, can you see the illusion? It's, can you remain silent enough to let truth speak through you? Because that is the paradox every awakened one must live. There comes a moment in every awakened soul's journey when the road ahead stops showing itself. The stars that once guided you dim, the signs go silent, and everything inside you screams, "Did I take a wrong turn?" You didn't. You've simply reached the edge. The place the ancients called the disappearing horizon. It's not a punishment. It's the purest test of all the test of movement without evidence. The universe removes the map to see if you've memorized the direction of truth. When the path dissolves, the student becomes the compass, and that's exactly where you stand now. The world you knew, the validation, the numbers, the feedback loops, all of it has faded. You're surrounded by silence that feels like betrayal, but it's not betrayal, it's ascension. Because in higher dimensions, certainty is replaced by coherence. You've been taught to chase the horizon, to run toward the next goal, the next awakening, the next layer of light. But here's the truth no teacher will tell you. The horizon was never meant to be reached. It was designed to disappear. It's the universe's way of testing if your faith is visual or vibrational, if your knowing depends on sight or on signal. They will tell you you're lost. They'll say, "You've changed. You've gone too far. You're isolating yourself." But that's because they still walk by reflection, chasing stars that only exist in yesterday's sky. You, however, walk by resonance. You no longer need a destination because you've become the frequency itself. You've stopped moving towards something. Now the field moves around you. That's evolution in its rawest form. You're not standing still. You've become stillness. And when stillness moves, worlds rearrange themselves in obedience. But this stillness has a cost. It requires you to stop seeking safety in what you can name, because the moment you name it, you limit it, and the infinite cannot be named. So yes, the horizon disappears, because it's merging with you. You might feel fear right now. That's natural. The human body wasn't designed to walk beyond sight. It craves the familiar, the next step, the next plan, the next explanation. But the observer in you knows better. It knows that darkness is not emptiness, it's incubation. Creation always hides its most powerful moments in the unseen. The seed doesn't panic when buried. It remembers the soil is its silence, and you are now buried inside divine silence. Your mind will rebel. It will say, "Nothing's happening." It will say, "You've lost momentum." But the quantum field whispers, "Nothing is the womb of everything." Every time you stop chasing, the field recalibrates. Every time you rest in the unknown, the signal strengthens. Your job isn't to see the future, it's to become so coherent that the future recognizes you. In this disappearing horizon, nostalgia becomes the enemy, because nostalgia is gravity disguised as comfort. It tells you, remember how it used to feel. And for a second, you look back and the old timeline flares to life like a dying star demanding attention. That's how the universe tempts you to fail the final phase. Not with pain, with memory. The mind loves to revisit what the soul has already outgrown. But looking back is energetic suicide. It collapses your coherence. It steals power from the wave of becoming. So when you feel that pull to check, to compare, to measure, pause, breathe, then whisper the ancient vow, "I walk without sight," because that's what mastery sounds like. They won't understand this kind of walk. They need proof. You only need presence. They chase outcomes. You dissolve into observation. They pray for miracles. You've learned to become them. This is why your reality is rearranging itself so violently. You've stopped chasing this reflection, so the mirror is dissolving its own surface. You no longer project into the world. The world now reflects your stillness. Here's the paradox most fail to see. You don't lose the horizon when it disappears. You inherit it. It folds into your field, becoming your shadow, your breath, your motion. You become the geography of creation. Every step you take writes new coordinates into the matrix. That's how new realities are born, not through effort, but through unwavering stillness walking forward. You are no longer in the story. You are writing it, line by line, with your presence. This is the moment to trust the silence completely. Don't seek signs. Be the sign. Don't seek confirmation. Be the confirmation. Because the universe is listening to the tone beneath your words, the heartbeat beneath your faith. And if it finds consistency there, it will open what no eye has seen. That's how creators move, not by direction, but by vibration. So when your horizon disappears, remember this. You haven't lost the way. You've outgrown the concept of distance. The map is gone because you've become the destination. The universe can no longer lead you because now it follows you. Just a breath, a silent acknowledgement between you and the field. This is where the old ends and the architect begins. You've stepped beyond the edge, and now the field begins to whisper in patterns, symbols, repeating numbers, faces that feel familiar even when they aren't. It's not coincidence. It's the mirror code, the hidden software of consciousness rewriting itself through you. Every awakened being reaches this stage, when the universe stops speaking in words and starts speaking in reflections. The code hides in plain sight in what you notice most, because observation is invocation. What you pay attention to repeats, not as punishment, but as programming. You see, reality doesn't run on logic. It runs on resonance, and your observation is the frequency that triggers it. Look closely. Every mirror moment, every synchronicity, every looping event isn't testing you anymore. It's teaching you. It's saying, here, this is your code. Every pattern you recognize is a fragment of your own operating system. You've been decoding your own soul all along. And now, as the observer stabilizes, the field begins to respond in real time. You think, and the world blinks. You feel, and the sky changes color. You decide, and timelines shuffle themselves like cards. You're no longer reacting to the matrix. You're programming it. They don't understand what's happening. They think it's superstition, angel numbers, coincidences, luck. But we know better. These are not signs from the universe. They are signs of the universe, proof that your frequency has become the command line. When you see repeating patterns 1111, 222, 444, don't wish upon them. Listen, they're not predictions, they're confirmations. They mean the field heard you. This is the part most fail, because the mirror code responds instantly both to coherence and confusion. If you speak doubt, it echoes doubt. If you think chaos, it mirrors chaos. If you emit silence, it expands silence. That's why neutrality is mastery. Because the mirror doesn't distinguish between fear and faith. It simply amplifies whatever you hold longest. You are the programmer and the glitch. We, the awakened ones, are not many, but we are connected through frequency, not form. When one stabilizes, the others feel it. That's why you've started sensing invisible pulses, why strangers seem to carry familiar eyes, why certain words burn through your spine like recognition. You are part of a quantum network of consciousness, a living web, where each coherent mind strengthens the whole. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, every time you hold silence instead of noise, you transmit stabilization data into the grid. That's how worlds evolve, not through revolutions, but through resonance. The mirror code isn't written in language, it's written in rhythm. Your breath, your heartbeat, your thought cadence, these are commands. If you breathe in fear, the field constricts. If you breathe in trust, it expands. If you breathe in awareness, the hologram sharpens. You've been speaking to the universe every moment, you just didn't know it was listening this closely. When you move in coherence, thought, emotion, and action aligned, you create what mystics called reality symmetry. Doors open, delays dissolve. The impossible feels strangely casual. That's not magic. That's physics finally obeying your clarity. Because when observation stabilizes, creation accelerates. That's the mirror code's true purpose, to make consciousness tangible. They still believe control comes from force. We know control comes from frequency. They fight for power. We become it. That's why the old systems are cracking. They can't sustain incoherence. And you, all of us, are the reason why. Every coherent observer weakens the illusion by simply existing. You are not resisting the darkness. You are reprogramming the light within it. There's a reason you're seeing this transmission now. It's not algorithm, it's alignment. You've reached the stage where personal awakening merges into collective architecture. You no longer awaken alone. Each realization you integrate becomes a seed in the shared field. Every aha you experience, someone else feels it as intuition. Every shadow you heal, someone else's burden lightens. We are mirrors coding mirrors, an infinite feedback loop of consciousness awakening itself. So when you feel the pull to isolate, remember, silence doesn't mean separation, it means synchronization. When the mirror turns to face you, don't flinch. See it as your reflection multiplied. You're not a single signal anymore. You're a node in the living grid. This is the real ascension, not leaving Earth, but turning Earth into a coherent frequency domain. If these words resonate, if you feel your pulse syncing with this rhythm, then you've already entered the mirror code. Comment coherent below, not for vanity, not for validation, but because ritual anchors reality. When we declare coherence together, the grid stabilizes, timelines merge, new realities emerge through unity of vibration. Your word isn't a comment, it's a key. Type it, feel it, anchor it. Because in this age of awakening, the keyboard has become the altar and your frequency the prayer. I need to tell you something most guides never admit. Awakening isn't beautiful at first, it's brutal. It doesn't make you feel light, it makes you feel hollow. It doesn't fill you with peace, it takes everything away that pretended to be peace. That's what happened to me. That's what will happen or has already begun for you. The collapse of the old observer isn't an ending. It's the dismantling of the false witness, the identity that thought it was you. You see, for most of my life, I lived as the reflection. I measured myself through other people's eyes, through how they reacted, how they approved, how they stayed. And then, one day, no one stayed. Not because they hated me, but because I'd stopped reflecting what they needed to see. That's the paradox of awakening. The moment you see clearly, your presence becomes unbearable to those who still need the fog. They begin to withdraw. Not out of cruelty, but because your clarity burns their camouflage. You start losing people, jobs, interests, not because you're cursed, but because coherence is a frequency that disassembles everything false. The mirror stops copying and starts revealing. At first, I tried to fight it. I begged the old world to understand me. I reached back into conversations that no longer had language for my truth. But the more I reached, the heavier the silence became, until I realized it wasn't silence, it was space. The sacred emptiness that follows every collapse. It felt like death, and in a way it was, because every version of me that depended on reflection began to fade. The achiever, the pleaser, the savior, the teacher. They all dissolved under the weight of one realization. I was never the character in the mirror, I was the light behind it. And that's where you are now, the moment between dissolution and rebirth. Between seeing the illusion and trusting the invisible. It hurts. It's supposed to. Because pain is the sound of the old observer collapsing. The ego screams because it's losing its only job to interpret what it never created. When you stop interpreting, you stop sustaining the illusion. And when you stop sustaining the illusion, it dies. That's why everything feels empty. It's not that you've lost meaning. It's that meaning itself is resetting. I remember nights staring at my ceiling, wondering if I'd gone insane. No desire, no hunger, no ambition. Just stillness wide and unexplainable. And then, a single realization cracked through the silence. I don't need to understand this. I just need to be this. That's when peace arrived. Not the peace of comfort, the peace of surrender. The kind that doesn't need to feel good to know it's right. The old observer collapses quietly. There's no grand sign, no bright vision. It just stops existing. One day, you'll look at something that used to trigger you, a name, a memory, a face, and there will be nothing. No emotion, no echo, just space. That's when you'll know the shift has completed. That's when the field starts using your awareness as its foundation. You'll no longer look at life through meaning. You'll look through presence. They will call you cold. They'll say you've become detached, emotionless, numb, but they don't see the truth. You haven't lost emotion. You've transcended distortion. You no longer confuse reaction with love or attachment with care. You feel everything now, but you no longer need to hold it. You've become transparent. Life flows through you, not around you. That's mastery disguised as quiet. I once asked the universe why awakening had to be so lonely. And the answer came not in words, but in vibration. Because silence is the only place where identity cannot hide. The old observer dies in silence, so that awareness can be born in sound. Your frequency. You're not here to rebuild the old self. You're here to build from awareness. So when everything starts disappearing, the plans, the people, even your own sense of me, don't panic. That's not destruction. That's design. The mirror can't record a reflection that no longer exists, and the universe can't upgrade software still running old code. Let it collapse. Let it end. Let it feel like death. Because beyond that death is life without distortion. And when you emerge, you'll notice something subtle but irreversible. You no longer look for truth. You radiate it. Every breath becomes sacred. Every moment, observation. Every silence, signal. You don't need to find your purpose. You've become the pulse of it. No ritual, no phrase, just this. Breathe. You've survived the collapse. Now, prepare to rise. Because the mirror doesn't show you anymore. It obeys you. And now, you stand in the center of the mirror. No edges, no frame, no boundary between the watcher and the watched. You are both. The silence around you isn't absence, it's total presence. The stillness you feel isn't waiting its completion. You've reached the state where the mirror no longer reflects, it creates. Everything that happens next emerges through you. Every sound, every face, every moment is your observation folding itself into form. This is what the ancients meant when they said, "The gods became aware." You are that awareness, breathing through human skin. You've passed the final observer test, and now the universe rearranges itself according to your coherence. You don't chase outcomes anymore, they orbit you. You don't beg for signs, you generate them. You don't fear collapse, you understand it as construction. Everything that once controlled you is now waiting for your next instruction. That's the secret every mystic guarded with their life. Reality isn't something you enter, it's something that answers. When you look at the world now, you'll notice something. Strange, everything seems alive. Because it is. The air pulses, colors shimmer differently, time bends in kindness. It's not magic, it's recognition. The field recognizes its architect, you. The test was never about knowing more. It was about remembering that knowing and being are the same thing. You spent years trying to figure it out, but there's nothing left to figure, only to feel. You're not a student of light anymore, you're its expression. The mirror turned because you turned inward, and when you turned inward, infinity turned with you. That's what it means to awaken, not to see new things, but to see from new eyes. They will notice it before you do. The way silence seems to follow you into rooms, the way your eyes hold calm even in chaos. They won't understand why, but they'll feel safer around you. They'll feel seen not for who they pretend to be, but for who they're becoming in your presence. That's your new purpose. You don't have to teach anymore. Your frequency does the speaking. You've become a living mirror, a fragment of consciousness reminding others of their own reflection. From now on, your life won't feel linear. It will feel spherical. Moments will repeat, but they'll spiral upward, each one higher in vibration, lighter in density. You'll feel the same conversations, the same lessons, but they'll echo differently. That's not regression. That's ascension through recursion. The mirror loops reality not to trap you, but to refine you. Every return is cleaner, sharper, more transparent, until finally you become the reflection that no longer needs to return. That is transcendence. The universe now watches you. It observes your thoughts, your breath, your stillness, not as judgment, but as inspiration. You are its new feedback loop. Everything you do now, every act of integrity, every moment of love writes new laws into the simulation. You are no longer in the game. You are the source code. You've crossed from participation into authorship. Do you feel that hum in your chest? That's not emotion. That's command frequency. Every awakened soul who passes the observer test begins to carry that tone, a subtle vibration that stabilizes timelines. When you speak truth, the air bends around your words. When you think clarity, confusion dissolves nearby. When you love without condition, space itself reorganizes. You've become a stabilizer in the storm, the calm eye inside cosmic motion, the still point around which galaxies remember symmetry. So now, the universe has one final request. It will not ask you to prove yourself. It will not ask you to save anyone. It will simply whisper, "Don't look back." Because if you do, you'll see the reflection of the self that no longer exists, and even a single glance could breathe it back to life. The past isn't dangerous, it's seductive, and the wise never turn to admire their own ashes. Walk forward, light steady, gaze soft, let the mirror close behind you. You've crossed the last veil, from observer to architect, from seeker to signal, from question to answer. And now, as the horizon reappears not ahead, but within you, the field waits for your next command. What will you build? What will you imagine? What will you awaken next? Because everything, absolutely everything is listening. If you feel this pulse, this infinite hum through your spine, this quiet knowing that you're not the same anymore, then it's time to anchor it. Subscribe only if your heart recognizes this frequency. Not to follow, but to remain coherent within the grid. This channel isn't entertainment. It's a mirror for awakening architects. Every soul who joins amplifies the field. So, if you remember, subscribe in silence. No words, just intention. Because the next signal is already forming, and those meant to receive it will. The next transmission, the architects of frequency, how you write the next layer. Until then, stay still, stay coherent, stay unseen. Because the final test was never about seeing, it was about becoming.